it's really frustrating because I feel like in that first half, this reminds me a little bit of the Miami game in this sense, Gene. I thought Gus had him ready, but Tommy misses wide open throws, and receivers obviously had the worst night that we've seen here in some time. And Florida State's had a lot of nights in the last few years where they've dropped the ball, like a lot. This one takes the cake.
Yeah, I don't think this season. I think there were a couple in 2024 like this. I mean, we all kind of just try to erase that entire season from our collective memories. But there were some games there where there were 3-4. I mean, we had who was our tight end of Morlock. I mean, I think had 4 drops in a game before. So they've done that before. But this season, it hasn't been a huge problem. But it sure reared its ugly head, especially in the first half. And that's the kind of thing in the game. You cannot, when you're on a road trying to win a game, when you're an underdog, do that kind of thing. And it's going to kill you. It sucks the life out of you too, from a momentum perspective.
Yeah, this one checked all the boxes. What's different about this one than some of these other losses that Florida State has suffered on the road, and God knows we have a lot of losses to choose from, is that there were a lot of plays to be made tonight, like obvious ones, not ones that you have to slow down all 22 and say, look at this area right here. If he just saw it. No, it's ball goes to receiver doesn't catch ball, or wide open receiver, ball goes over receiver's head, or somebody's wide open on a wheel, you throw it 5 yards behind him, he adjusts. It's not a great throw. Jalen Lucas should make the catch, but he doesn't. So that's what it was for Florida State on offense tonight. Next up in contributions list tonight on the Warchant Game Day post-game call-in show is C Black. How long does Alford drag this out? Great question.
That is the question right now. But I will, to get to that, Tom, and what you said earlier, why wouldn't he do it after Stanford now? And I really, the belief in the stuff I've heard, they did not have their ducks in a row to make a move then. I really think they were caught up in how the season started. I'm talking about the administration, the money movers, everybody who's got to be involved. It's not just Alford saying you're fired. There's got to be a lot more people involved in this whole thing. And we talked about on our shows, and we hate to make excuses, but you can look in the lens of Miami and Virginia and be like, okay, those, Miami's at the time we thought was really good. Virginia was kind of flukish. They're obviously a ranked team. Pitt's a ranked team. It was really the shock was the Stanford game. And they were not, you can say they weren't prepared, and that's probably a fair assessment of the situation, but they weren't prepared to make a move that quickly. They should be prepared now. The writing is on the wall. There is no reason to wait till the Florida game. So again, I wouldn't be shocked. I haven't heard anything since this game started, so I don't have any information on this, but I would be not shocked in the next 24, 48 hours if there's a move. If there's not, we may be waiting to pretty much the end of the year.
That's a good time to remind you to hit the bell next to the subscribe button and be alerted every time we go live here on Warchant TV. If something like that happens, we will be live with immediate reaction on Warchant TV. Head over to warchant.com as well. Sign up today for just $1 because it could get bumpy. Gene, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to follow up here and ask you, it's kind of a rhetorical, unfair question, but I want to get your take because I don't think we've discussed this. If they have their ducks in a row now and they were to make a move, but they weren't prepared for the Stanford game, then why would you issue a statement then Monday after Stanford and say that they're going to make a comprehensive assessment of the team and do it at the end of the season? Like, why would you take that middle step for a statement if you perhaps might be prepared to make the move on Mike Norvell 2 weeks to the day after the statement was issued?
No, that's a great question. But then again, I remember Alford at ACC Media Days waxing on and on about how they love the ACC in the middle while they're suing them. And I also know how often, Tom, do you see like in the NFL when the owner gives the, we're confident, gives the stamp of approval to the coach and then fires them the next day. I mean, this is just SOP for whatever reason. ADs, NFL owners seem to work this way where they always have to be positive on the outside at saying things, but that's not really what's going on behind the scenes.
Yep. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of – I don't want to get into the Norvell thing, but when all the years I was bowling on the Professional Bowlers Tour, we always had a saying, don't squeeze the bowling ball. And that's kind of with your grip. And it seems like the team is playing afraid. They're afraid to just let loose and play. They know their ability. They know how good they can do. They're afraid to do it. And as we talked about last week with the elephant in the room, maybe that's preventing them from doing it, but it just seems like they're so afraid to be themselves. And I don't know if that is because of Norvell or what's going on with the situation, but it's just we got to figure out a way to kind of get past this point. And I don't know what it is. I don't want to get into the fire Norvell thing, but it's the players seem like they're playing like they're afraid. Yeah. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, no, it's fair. We appreciate the call. I think that you can look to a couple of examples of that this season. The Pitt game from the defense is the first thing that jumps to mind for me about playing afraid to make a mistake. You can see in my head, I can see linebackers, safeties, and corners afraid to make a poor play, and in turn, they're guaranteeing that a play is made right in front of them because they're afraid to go trigger. I think that you could maybe look at playing tentative for the reason for some of these drops. I mean, Randy Pittman is one of the most sure-handed players on the planet. Think about the catch he made against Virginia that helps force overtime. It's an impossible catch. He also made another one along the sidelines tonight that was a very difficult attempt.
It looked like a pick. I can't believe he came up with that ball.
I agree. Well, yeah, stop Adazio again. He's like, that throw was late. Like, all of them are late. You could just say that was a throw because they're all late. But that guy is extremely short-handed, but not in that situation. And it could be that maybe they're sensing something on the sidelines. Maybe they were sensing something on the flight or in the locker room beforehand. But there were plays that were there. They're so wide open that just go out and play free. They did not play free. Gene, I think that's a good call by Richard. I think there might be something to that.
And I think that goes along with what you were saying earlier about, especially early on, that both teams are so tight. And they're just kind of waiting for something. And I think that goes back to the Wake Forest game because we all thought how bad that first quarter was. And it was just two teams kind of really tight, feeling each other out, not really sharp. But what happened after FSU got up a couple scores and loosened up? Well, they went in the second half. They scored 5 straight touchdowns. Suddenly they were loose and they played free in that game. But you're right. They're having a real hard time. It seems like it's been that way most of the season, kind of getting off the schneid early on. For whatever reason, they seem to be slow. And if they can weather that early storm and loosen up, then they might be okay. But the problem is, lately, that hasn't been the case.